setting up our meeting on YouTube, done, redirecting. We are live. Meeting is being live streamed. Okay. All right, you what time is the phone meeting to order? What time? 6:36. You want to do the pledge before we get started? Sure. All right, we're gonna do the pledge. Do you how you guys want to do that virtually? That's up to you. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, to the republic, which it stands, one nation.
Indivisible, with liberty
and justice
for all.
Okay. So I'm just going to go through the roll call to make sure I'm checking everybody in, but just to make sure. Tony's here. Nancy,
Yes.
Elizabeth, Beth Henson, are you there by chance? I'm going to just minimize this for just 1 second to just double check. Make sure no one is in the waiting room. No, no one is in the waiting room. Okay. Screen. Ava, Mitchell, yes.
Here.
Bruce. And Robert.
Here,
Kylie. I didn't see Kylie. Bud. That's so Bud.
Yeah.
Doug.
Here.
Carl.
Here.
Yeah, yes.
Here.
And no, she told me she couldn't make it. Jane. No. Jim. Lee. Tom Polker. One more. So I'm going to, so we have 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 members. I'm going to pull up, share my screen. I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint. So just bear with me for a moment there. Everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Here's the agenda. Send around the agenda. Just in case you all have a copy of the agenda. It's the standard agenda. First item on the agenda is approval of the December 15th minutes. I can pull those up and share those if people haven't had the chance to see them. If anybody wants me to pull them up, I can pull them up. Otherwise, you've read them. Any comments, changes?
Rich, this is Bob Van Valkenburg. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Bob.
I'll second that. Mitch Smith.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anything abstaining or recused? Okay.
I think it's Nancy. I think I need to abstain because I wasn't at the meeting.
No, you don't have to abstain as long as,
Okay,
so, I don't think you need to abstain.
great.
So. So I'd like to go through just quickly some of the training, the start of a new year. So the start of another 4 credits that are necessary. I haven't updated the spreadsheet in months. I can do that to see where people are in the training. But as far as I know, Department of State doesn't have any training scheduled yet for the winter. At least when I checked their website yesterday, we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll also at some point have to talk about the spring. We usually do some type of webinar in the spring, but we can talk more about that. So these are the webinars. The Hudson River Estuary Program has some webinars. There's one next week on an introduction to New York State species designation. Hi, how are you?
So I was on time until I ran into a neighbor.
I was trying to rush through the supermarket, right? All right, that's just your notes, so we will. So there's some webinar opportunities, and I, it's usually circulate these via email. So right now, the only webinars I know of are the ones that are being offered by the Estuary Program and one by the Solar Energy Group on combining large-scale solar with grazing opportunities, and a study that was done out in Livingston County, trying to combine agriculture and large-scale solar. And these are actually all the websites, as you know, for to keep an eye on training opportunities. The other things I just wanted to mention in terms of planning department reports, business items, I sent around emails to everyone that's up. We have 6 members that are up for reappointment this year, so March 15th, technically. So each of those 6 members have gotten emails from me, and I've also contacted the town clerks and supervisors to try to get, we need some type of resolution or letter or meeting minutes. And what I realized is I need to contact people earlier in December, because when towns, municipalities usually do their reorganization in January, it'd be a good idea to have the county planning board as part of that reorganization, so that, if it's part of that reorganization, they just need to send us the minutes that so-and-so has been reappointed, and then we don't have to go back and forth so much. So in the future, I'm going to try to reach out a little earlier to towns to that, instead of waiting until January, so that we don't have any lapse, because we need something by mid-February to be able to get it on the March agenda, and even March 15th. To try hopefully get it on the March 15th legislative agenda. So I think the 6 folks know who they are, and if they're been contacted, I've been in contact with each of you, at least via email. I don't have any other business items. Anybody else? That is it. In terms of Ag and Markets did approve the our latest addition to the Ag District 124 for properties in Prattsville, Lexington area that we added. So Ag and Markets did approve that. Just want to let you know. And that's it. We'll get right into the referrals. 3 referrals on tonight's agenda. First one is from the town of Hunter. This is there's a site plan review and this expansion of the Hotel Mountain Brook. They want to add up to 10 what I would call tiny homes, basically modular constructed homes onto 0.7 acre, 0.72 acre property on 23C. And that's since the site plan is coming to us, because it is, well, it's both on the border of the village of Tannersville as well as on a county road. So this is the site here outlined in blue. It's a little hard to see, maybe. I don't know if I make this full screen. Let's see. Yeah, full screen. See it any better? I can't see you guys anymore now, so if I do this, so if you do make any motions or comments, just let me know who it is. So it is a 0.72 acre parcel at 75 County Route 23C. It's the adjacent parcel. One part of the, as I'll talk about, the referral that was really confusing to me, it seems like Some work is also going to be going on in the adjacent parcel. The site plan was only for this 3/4 acre lot, but the parking, seems like there's some parking and lighting improvements and some site work going on in the adjacent parcel as well. This is overhead imagery of it. This is where the hotel is currently, where the existing parking is, and on this long narrow lot is where they want to put up to 10 units. This is the plan that was submitted. You can see that the 10 units outlined here in red. They were planning on doing this in phases. So they said up to 5 to 10. I think they plan to do perhaps 5 and see how well they rent, how well it goes, and then maybe add another 5. But the way I understand the site plan, it is for approval for 10, unless I am misunderstanding it, to get approval for the 10 units. And looking at this, it seems to me in terms of there is going to be some work done on along County Route 23C, which will require a county work permit, which they didn't identify in their application. So we'll have to let them know that. Highway permit. It does seem like there will be some work done to the parking lot, some lighting on this lot. So, and also these parcels were misidentified. They have the wrong parcel numbers on it. It says 166.7-4-6. That's actually its wrong parcel number. It's actually 17.4-10. And so one of my concerns was it seems like the site plan should be for both parcels, not just this parcel, but it's not really clear exactly the extent to which some parking lot improvements might be done. That might be minor, but it seems like some work could be done. There was no real landscape design. It looks like maybe some of these green circles are landscaping potential that the trees maybe they're going to put in, but again, that wasn't identified, or it's not identified in the key also as to what these things are. There's some either trees because they're green, but can't really tell. Hard to tell on here, but you see some of the lighting, the walkway. They're going to put walkways in between this parking lot and the new modular units. So there's the lighting all along here, in between the lots, and some lighting along the walkways that go from the existing parking lot. My understanding is that we're going to tear this house down over here, potentially. Again, there's really no landscaping plan, just kind of landscaping notes, some sewer notes. I guess they still need to work with New York DEP and the village of Tannersville and so forth to all the sewer hookup, sewer and water hookups. They're still negotiating those things. This is the dimensions and picture of what they might look like, the units might look like, or going to look like. 120 square foot units. So basically, 5 to 10 tiny homes to be rented out.
Richard, if I may ask, are you sliding through these, or I'm still on screen number 1?
You are.
Yeah, the Zoom is not updating as you scroll through, if that's what you're doing.
I am. Let me go back. If they weren't advancing. All right, so I'm going to go back then. Sorry, thanks for letting me know. So this is where I started. I think you saw this one, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that was the one we were on. Yeah.
Okay, so this was the overhead I was talking about, the imagery one where you can see the existing hotel, the existing parking lot. This undeveloped area here is where they want to put the up to 10 units, basically tiny units to rent out on this.
I think that's probably the stuff that we wanted the most, right, on this.
Well, they said it was on, it was a little confusing because
Yeah.
this is 75. This is 70, the long narrow lot is 75 Hill Street or Route 23C. They said they wanted to demolish a home at 57. This is 57, this bigger lot. So I was a little bit confused whether they're talking about demolishing this home or this home, or this home, right?
Because that one would be in the way of.
They're demolishing the home on that
The
property,
application wasn't
not
clear.
with the hotel.
The site plan was only for this long narrow lot. In my opinion, the site plan should have been, and the referral should have been for both lots because they.
Rich, that the two properties are owned by different people. That's why the site plan is not contiguous.
Okay, but,
So how can this work?
well, again, they were a little confusing because again, on the site plan here, I don't know how well you guys can see this or you're pulling it up, but that's why I tried to enlarge it on our screen, but I guess whenever the slides went advancing, I'm not sure how exactly. But this lot, the second lot is, if it's owned by someone different, I mean, it's misidentified on the site plan. It has the wrong parcel number.
Well, it's the same person. It's a different entity that owns it. It had to do with with a loan that he got, a business loan.
Okay. But again, from a site plan perspective, it seemed like this lot needs it's either a separate site plan or they need to put a site plan together.
Except for that path, nothing is going on the hotel property. And all the curb cuts and everything are existing. So that's why we didn't require a new site plan for the hotel, because it's literally that one path in the middle. That's all they're adding.
Well, there's two paths here. There's a walkway here that's being added and a walkway here and some lighting. So, and again, it said removal of the house at 57, which I, again, as Stephen just mentioned, I thought it meant the house perhaps at 75, but.
It is the house. Yes, it is the house at 75.
Okay, yeah, but the application said at 57.
No, I understand that. I'm just letting you know the clarification.
All right, and the parcel numbers, again, this parcel, the number for this parcel is incorrect. It's actually -10, not -6. And this is what I was talking about. Didn't have a landscaping plan. I don't know if these green circles here were actually landscaping. There's nothing in the key that indicates that they are. So I'm not sure what that, and they did have some.
That part's still a work in progress. They don't have anything. They don't have the landscape plan finalized.
So again, this was more of a plot plan than a site plan. I read it, but whoops, I advanced too far. And this is what I was talking before. This is what the units are proposed to look like. And again, they are. It says 5 to 10 units. I assume that the approval, they're looking for approval for 10 units, and then they're going to phase in the build out over at least a couple of phases, depending on how, I guess, lucrative they are, whether they'll build all 10 or not. Which again, that's my reading of it. There are some minor potential wetlands, probable wetlands on the site that the applicant might want to be aware of, just in case. That state regulated at this point, but there are possible wet areas that they should be aware of, just in case. So that was my comments, and that's what I have in the comments here, that that the plot plan that was submitted appeared to have work both done on both parcels. Again, that was my reading of it in terms of how I got it. I understand how you clarified that. The adjacent parcels are mislabeled as 176, 17-4-6 and -4-5. These parcel numbers don't exist, so that should be corrected. It did say demolition of house at 57, so that's one of my comments. To the extent that the parking lot was going to be improved was not clear to me either. And again, the assumption I made was that this approval was for 10 cabins over 2 phases. So it was not clear again whether that would require a second site plan for the additional 5 cabins, or 5 or 10 right now. This was reviewed by county highway as well. It is in the county right of way and will count require a county work permit. The construction evidence and the proposed upgrade of existing sewer line. There is existing road cut. The proposed sewer line upgrade is to be installed, and it would be preferable to use that same one. And Greene County Highway said that when you apply for the highway work permit. And I already talked about the landscaping in the parking area. So those are some of the other comments.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the recommendation for a local decision with comments.
I'll second.
Carl, I was just thinking, I was thinking we might not even have enough votes to carry this, as I was just summarizing that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
I abstain.
That-
Doug.
Bob and Valkenburg also abstains.
So yeah, Bob and Doug have to abstain, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so that's, and we have 11 members, so we'll have 9. So the, I am going to. Nice, okay. All right. So make sure no one's still in the waiting room, but I can't find my way out of it. Where you'll find, let me get back to that waiting room. Hopefully no one is, but. All right, well, at this point then, we have 9, we have 11 members, we have 9 yeses and 2 abstentions, so the motion does not carry. We need 10, we need 10 votes. Which I have also tried to get Ashland, and I'm still even trying to get Halkett to join. So that either that, right? You know, we want to consider revising our bylaws at some point, and keep them. Towns don't want to be represented, that we don't have to count them towards our vote or our quorum. That's the other option I was thinking of, because if Halkett hasn't been a member for 10 years, then perhaps we don't need to continue to count them towards our quorum. It seems kind of silly. If they want to not be a member, then we should maybe think about changing that.
That's a really good point.
It's just, you know, to have to count them towards a quorum and towards the vote, and they choose not to be here. So, but anyway, all right. So that motion does not carry. We'll go on to the next one. See how we do. I'm going to get this out of my way here. This is the Village of Catskill has some relatively minor changes to their zoning code. In the but in the memo I sent around, it gives each of the amendments that they have. So they require that some regulations for keeping chickens in the village. There's some fencing changes for maximum height of fences.
I have a question about that.
All right, let's just run through all of it. Short-term rental, they have an addition to that to make sure that any existing short-term rental complies within 30 days. Inspection, annual inspections. And they made some changes that the person who was in charge of the short-term rental be within 1 hour at all times, and she'll be available by telephone at all times while the short-term rental is occupied. They made some amendments to the short-term rental section. The site plan, some trees in terms of removing trees that can get considered shelter in the right of way, and review of historic properties. This with the standard that they'll follow the site plan review procedures, exception that no public hearings are required or none are otherwise required. But so I had my comments. If you have it, the color version are highlighted in yellow. I suggested in terms of the chickens that looking at some other villages that have regulated those recently, they also put in some add language in about if you're going to keep chickens in a village, how there's going to be kind of shelter is going to be provided for the chickens, kind of setbacks from other properties, fencing, storage of feed, waste management. So just some other things, and I pointed out too, local skill activity, which recently.
Yep, that's a good idea.
So there's some things that, while they're doing it, they might want to think about some of those things. Fences, there seemed to be the language that they submitted in the zoning code and the language that they put in the summary they sent me didn't match. So there seemed to be some language missing there about this part Thailand had a 6-foot rear and side yards, finished side of the fence was face the neighbor at our street. That was in the summary, but not in the amended code that they sent me. So there seemed to be some missing language there. The short-term rental enactment that they have 30 days. I was just wondering how they were going to let people know that. Once they got the zoning code, that is how the village will notify our owners about the short-term rental and how they will do that. And then in reading through the zoning code, there seemed to be some sections that had red lines through them that they didn't mention as being amended or changed. So I just raised that as a question. I don't think they were changed, but they were red lines in the updated code. So those are my comments.
About the height of the fence, now, we have a discrepancy between the front and the back from when I'm reading it. The only thing I have a comment on is that people that have above ground pools are required to have fencing a certain height, and I'm just wondering whether that conflicts with this height limit or not. Because if you have a 54-inch high pool and then you're required to have, I don't remember, 36 inches high fence on top of it for safety, the 6-foot might work almost. So there might be some safety issues that might conflict with this, and it might not be just a pool.
I didn't read through the whole code to see if there was a consistency or discrepancy issue with the pool fencing requirements.
I'm saying the pool is the one I thought of, but there might be other safety issues that might conflict with this height limit that I can't think of.
We can add that if you want to add that to the comments.
I would just basically say except when it conflicts with some kind of safety regulation or something similar to that, but
Are there roosters that don't crow?
Well, no, I thought that was kind of redundant. But maybe there are. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I shouldn't say.
Huh.
Yeah, but that's. Yeah. Yeah, that's. I thought that was language, and that's the existing language. It's the. So that's. I don't know whether we want to. I have those comments. Whether we want to add concern about consistency of height limits, fencing height limits, and safety regulations.
yeah.
So that's on the table.
Motion to accept. That's noted.
With your amendment, please. Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
Any abstain?
I would have to.
That's Mitchell, I assume, right?
Yep.
Anybody else? So one. All right, so that, any recuse? All right, so that motion would carry 10-1. All right. We have one more referral. That is Googling roosters that don't crow. All right. Let's say, this is Town of New Baltimore for its addition to a property to build cold storage or a storage building. An existing property, it's on Route 9W, State Road, so it's coming, is referred to us by the County Planning Board. It's a 3.5 acre parcel, only about 0.1 acres are being disturbed, zone commercial. I just got the full size plot plan in today, but I added it to the agenda anyway, just I don't like holding these things up. This is the location of it. This is 9W here, the freeways over here. So it's this parcel of zone commercial, this 3.5 acre parcel. You can see from kind of imagery that it is already with a commercially used property.
Yeah, it must be up there.
And the only concern I have is it was hard to tell, again, based on the plot. I mean, again, it was more of a plot plan than a site plan. Where exactly this is where my cursor is, assuming you can see that, is where they want to put the storage building, which as far as I could tell is more in this grass stream area here. Which I'm excited about being on, kind of the developed land there. From what I can tell, these are the existing buildings over here, and this new 60 by 80, 4,800 square foot building is going in here, towards the front of the property. It does have some national wetlands. So let's show this here on this. Does have some federal wetlands on that parcel. Like I said, this rear of this parcel is where most of the development is. As far as I can tell, it's right in this wetland area where they want to put. And in terms of looking at that plot plan, it's about, they have those, they don't really, these are kind of squared off here. It's a pond that just has these rectangular edges here, but it's about, as I can measure, about 15 feet from where that, what they're calling pond or open water, which is what it is, which is basically this blue area on this map is the pond or open water area. And this riverine wetland here. It's about 45 feet from this riverine wetland and about 15 feet from, that's just another map of the wetlands. So my basic encouragement when they do this is a screenshot of two different of the environmental assessment form that we did for seeker, where they basically said no, there's no wetlands and there will be no effect on the wetlands. But if you run the property through the DEC mapper, yeah, there are federal wetlands. The answer is yes. So my encouragement is always for applicants to use the EAF mapper to get better accurate answers and then just kind of fill it out yourself, because basically the short form they submitted is in answering the questions about the wetlands. So and again, in looking at the local site, let me go back for a second here. Just in looking at the site plan law in New Baltimore, they have two different variations, whether they consider something a minor site plan or a major site plan. I don't know if they consider this a minor site plan, and that's why they just have a plot plan that's not real specific. It is a 4,800 square foot building. However, we define a minor site plan as 2,500 square feet. So I'm not sure. This basically the map that was submitted is really a survey map. It's not really a site plan. It's a survey map done by a surveyor. So it doesn't have a lot of detail in terms of site plan. And so the question is, I already talked about the wetlands, but the question is if this is an acceptable site plan to the town, that's a local decision. If it's not, and they want more information, then my recommendation would be that it would be brought back to the county planning board with an updated site plan that answers some of these questions. That is what's on the table. Any questions?
Rich, can I see that aerial shot again?
Sure can.
I only wonder, given the size of the lot, why they would tuck it right in the most sensitive area, environmentally. Just looks like it had more out.
I mean, that's the best I could tell. I'm not 100% sure, but if you look at this, you look at the shape of the parcel here in the corner, and then you look at the survey map, here's that corner right here. Here's the proposed building. And like I said, 15 feet from that open water pond. So, that's the best I could tell. They don't have it. They have two existing buildings. They don't have any other kind of detail on this survey map other than these two, the two existing buildings, which are these two buildings right here. So the best I can tell is that, that they want to put that new building right here.
Right there with the wetland.
That's the best I can. I mean, unless I'm misreading this, but that's.
No, I mean, that's clearly where they placed it. My question is, why there, given other opportunities?
I don't know, whether it doesn't fit here. I don't know whether this is, they need movement of vehicles for here, whether this is important for parking and movement. This is some kind of right of way. I don't know what the relationship is with this parking lot over here, whether they need this for truck access and put it, somewhere else on the property would not be conducive to movement of vehicles. That's the only thing I can think of. But they definitely will be infringing on federal wetlands, and whether they're regulated or not, I do not know, or how they're regulated. They might need more permits, or they might want to move it to another part of the site.
We're going to put all of that into the communication.
I did kind of just talk about, federal wetlands not identified as such on the plans. Again, that's up to them whether they want to require more information, and that's a local decision in terms of.
We're saying that they're not identified. You just tell them that they placed it right in the middle of the wetland for information.
When I say that, I mean they have the pond, open water here, and they have this riverine, this here. So they are, they're not identified as federal wetlands. So that's what they're not, because again, on their environmental assessment form, this top section answered question 13. Are there any state, federal wetlands? They answered no, no. When I ran it through the DEC EF mapper, this is automatically generated based on the address and parcel number of the property. Basically, on the parcel number of the property, the automatic answer is generated yes. So that's my advice on when the applicant is doing that. It's best to run it through the mapper to make sure that their answers are they're not kind of just guessing. They might not realize that they're federal wetlands.
Well, Mitch Smith will make a motion for local decision with comments.
I'll second that, Bruce Dyson.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Recuse? All right, so that carries 11 to. Okay, and that's the three referrals for this month. The next meeting is Wednesday, not now, Wednesday, February 16th. It'll be the same thing. The governor just extended this remote meeting thing. I had thought it was permanent, but I guess it is extended now as long as we are in the emergency, state of emergency in the pandemic. So I guess we can do these hybrid meetings until the state declares the pandemic is over. Whether that may or may not be. Do you have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
All right.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.
Right.
Good night.
Yeah.